So I got these new things that I want to try with you guys, but I also wanted to just like touch on some things and maybe like someone could hit me up in the comment section and just like talk to me about it or tell me what they know because like I always just like to have these I like to say what I think and then like someone might come and give me some more information, which I feel like is super dope and I always appreciate it. So, I'm not big on watching the news, right? But like a thing of what I wanted to do is like kind of research on the history of America and China, right? Like I know North Korea has like their country under strict lockdown where people are trying to run away because like everything is just people are just like slaves there. In North Korea, Tokyo, South Korea, Asia, China, I have a map in my room, so like I'm just like looking up on it. Like North Korea is right at the bottom of China. And then you have Seoul in South Korea and then you have Japan right on the side. So, like just like how like with the media, they try to distract people in order to do certain things. Like for example, like I watched the other day at the Super Bowl, there was like this Nigerian guy who like owned like a bank or something, was the CEO of something, and then he died along with his wife and his son. So people were making stuff about it on TikTok saying that like they're saying that the Super Bowl is a ritual and that was a planned thing because you have that much money, you don't think that your plane's gonna crash. You get me? So it's like something must have happened there. Like I don't know. So obviously it's just gonna be like they're saying that, so I'm like mentioning it. But it's always like a distraction. For example, like China is huge. And if you look on a map, like you'll see how huge China is and how North Korea is right at the bottom of China. What if China's planning something, but like I feel like China's come to the point where like they're so private about things. I don't know if there are any Americans in China. That is something that I have to look into with like the history of China and the US. If you look at like how there was war between like Japan and the US and how they dropped like bombs killing millions of people in like that Hiroshima, like just these are just things at the top of my head. Like I don't have in-depth knowledge about it, which is why I said like if you do and you want to talk to me about it in the comment section, by all means. But this is what I'm thinking right now, and it's the thing and what I'm thinking about is TikTok, right? They're saying that they want to ban TikTok in America, which I feel like is crazy. Why? I'm gonna say why it's crazy. Millions, almost half, not half, 179 million people, based on the statistics that I've seen, 179 million people use TikTok, which means that millions of people are using TikTok in some way to make money, okay? To be able to just live happily. No one wants to have like that routine thing that they do. And the US didn't come up with TikTok, it was Chinese. What I love about Chinese people is like their dedication, their hard work, their persistence in terms of like doing things. Like they don't, like I remember doing this thing where they said that they don't create things, but they definitely know how to like amplify it. Like, you give them a TV and they'll make it into like something superb. You get me? Like, so they're good at making things better in all the best ways. So, like them coming up with TikTok is just like by studying like Americans. America has done like a lot to people, like killed a lot of people, largest exporter of arms. It's like you're doing a lot of damage. China, again, has come to the point where like they stopped their people from having too much children. I feel like even the other day I read that they're saying that Tokyo decreased their population by a certain amount. So it's like paying attention to the past, the present, and the future. Like paying attention to what happens here? What are the consequences from doing this? Which is like, I don't think America ever thinks about the consequences. It's like, you have someone in power for 2 terms, and within that 2 terms, I mean, when Obama was in president, he did good things. I think he legalized gay marriage. It was just all peaceful and loving. You get me? Like how black people are. And then Trump was hilarious to me. It's like so much TV shows came out when Trump was like in power. I don't think Trump is racist in any way. I think like he's white, so, and he's American, so he's gonna just like look out for his people more. But there are black people I even liked him. I liked him. I thought he was funny as opposed to anything else. Then Biden comes, and since Biden been in power, like nothing really great has happened. Nothing. The only funny shit that has happened is seeing him fall downstairs, just fall down, sleep during conferences and shit, and it's just like to the point where people saying he's a clone, he's dead, and this is a clone. So that's what people have gone that far, thinking that he's a clone because of the shit that's been happening. It's just been like a lot of war. It's kind of like one person Obama comes, he creates all this like peaceful, loving, which sometimes isn't always that good, because being able, as much as we all want to just do whatever we want to do, it's not always the best. There has to be order. That's why they came up with rules and stuff in the first place, because if everyone's just doing whatever, it comes to a point where people are just going to be reckless. Which brings me back to the point of the whole idea of banning TikTok there. And, you know, after you influenced people since the pandemic, this is how people have been making like thousands of dollars to afford their apartment, to afford food. So it's like, unless you have an alternative, it's like, okay, well, TikTok's gone, but we've created our own version of TikTok, which you could use, and like, we're gonna pay you in these ways. I don't really know what's gonna happen. You get me? And their main reason for wanting to ban TikTok is the whole idea that they don't want Chinese to have influence. I mean, we are already influenced. You know, I go on there, I laugh, kiki, ka, and then like I make my own videos, like, and that has been my people, our lives for like years now. And now you're like, oh, let's just ban it. Like, no more. What are people gonna do? I foresee riots. Like, I foresee so many things. Like, you can't just take something away without having something to replace it with. Okay? And, you know, I feel like a lot of places are just doomed from the start. Like, it's called karma. You get me? You can't just continue doing these things to people and think you're just going to be exempt. So, while we may hope for these wars and all these things to be ending soon, and as much as I am a happy person, I am from Canada, you get me? Like, we don't even be getting paid unless I go on live and sit there and look at people for a while and they send me a fucking rose or something. Right now I probably have like just shy of $50 in my account since I've had TikTok. Okay? So we don't be making that type of money. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it's just gonna be a disaster if it comes to a point where they do ban it. And I feel like it's gonna be a thing where like China's gonna be like, well, if you ban us, there's no coming back. It's kind of like you quit your job and it's like, well, you can't get your job back. You get me? So I'd say really think about it. As someone who's, like I said, I studied politics in school, but like I never got into America, China politics. Like, I feel like I know certain things, but I'm very much laid back with things where I have to like dig deep and know more, so I could, you know, just know more and talk about it more and be like able to maybe see the future, because these are the things that people do. There are men specifically that sit down and they look and they observe what is going on, and they do what they need to do. They create things like TikTok and they make billions of dollars. This is how it's done. So I'm just like excited to see what's gonna happen, I have to try my donuts, so I guess I'll do that in another video. Crazy.